When we get this place, the offline center, it was empty.
We found that young people felt that they are alone.
We just asked the FFTN to start this renovation.
We have here the land, how we can use that land in order to help young people who were hopeless.
Finding a place where you belong, in a group of people where you belong, it's always a need. That sparked an idea in my mind what I could use to build a bridge to my community. This is where the idea for community coffee shop started.
They are really struggling with the issue of identity. So we've been trusting God for so many years, praying that we get funds to refurbish this place.
Evangelism is my calling. I met with teen mom on the street. We start praying for the provisions.
There are some who were depressed, there were some who were suicidal.
Many young people struggling with family issues. This place can be a good place for them to come, spend the night together with a campfire, read together the Bible. We believe that it can change their life.
Offline Center is created a living room atmosphere for young people.
This is farming for discipleship. We evangelism and disciple them. I thank the Lord because I can make a change for those hopeless people.
Two of my friends, they were shot to death. That day I decided to change my life. So now I'm able to lead young people.
We could not just buy the place, but we have also a fund and resources to make all these renovations.
Some of them were hopeless. They felt they have no future, but now they have hope. They are committing their life to Christ.
Our dreams are starting to be true.
God has given us all the tools. Through the FFTN, He has provided.
I'm so happy to see the things that we've been praying for.
Without Foundation for the Nations, we wouldn't have this project.
Building a bridge
between partners
and projects.
FFTN.
Greetings and welcome back to more GA, General Assembly Companion, whereby we bring you people. And what's really interesting is you've just watched a trailer, a Foundation for the Nation trailer. Before that, we actually had Edward Cam, Brandon Johnson, and John Bastian in. I'm going to make no apologies for the fact that John Bastian and Brandon Johnson were eating and drinking whilst being interviewed. And it just got a little bit unruly there, bits and pieces. I'm now being joined by I don't know whether to call him famous or infamous, John Duncan and Simon Marriott. Yeah, you can move it. So basically you're just going to be like about that far away from the smooth tones of the radio. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you today?
Yeah, we're good. Thanks for having us.
Hey, welcome. It's great to have you on board. I mean, you're quite in demand, you two. I mean, every time I walk past, John's got a crowd, and you've also got a following. I mean, what's going on?
It's rapidly inverting.
It's rapidly inverting.
Absolutely. He's going to have the crowd. I'll have the following. People coming after me and wiping my lips and stuff, and just generally tidying up.
I mean, that is the thing here. That's it. You just pull your microphone in a bit.
Yeah, it goes full circle, yeah.
Yeah. What's really interesting to me is the amount of food that's on offer here. I normally have a very light breakfast that consists of coffee, maybe a bit of toast. Yeah. Lunch is a sandwich or a bit of soup, and then an evening meal. Here, I think I'm having 4 meals a day, even though there's only 3 meals a day, because with the coffee and the snacks and the biscuits,
I'm
going to go home like the size of a small bus.
Yep. I'm the same. Before I arrived here, I actually brushed my teeth. I don't know if that's
before you arrived in Holland.
Well, no, I did that as well. But even for this meeting, I thought maybe this is, I don't know how many sensory experience this is. So just in case people out there can, they're going to get a bit of fresh breath rather than
not in case your teeth are being filmed.
Well, hopefully you don't get in too close on those.
Well, no, I'm sat here processing, going, there are so many questions. Like, you brushed your teeth before you came from the interview. To make sure that you had fresh breath, I'm like, okay, that's like...
Oh, well, look, we're reasonably intimate here. I don't know, there's like 3 foot between us, so,
Oh, so, I mean, these microphones look so professional. They could be picking up scent, you never know.
Your 4D experience. I mean, maybe that's the thing we could incorporate for the next General Assembly is the live stream with, I mean, from my childhood, we called it Smelly Vision.
Smelly Vision.
And there was a little booklet that you got that came alongside the TV show.
You had to
and
scratch it.
Yeah, and with a little number. You know what I mean? And it'd be like...
Yeah.
Anyway, so I saw the other day, Simon, you put out a bunch of hats for people to take, and they went instantly because of this new amazing logo for Foundation for the Nation.
I think 4 Africans just lifted all of them.
Probably did. No, we were in the day.
They're now on sale in one of the other rooms.
That's it. They're $15 each.
Yeah, I suppose the concept behind that was we recognise part of our role here is just to encourage the national directors and say, well done. So the little theme was hats off, as a way of saying thanks. Yeah, and
nice.
Like a way of getting the new logo out there and the new brand image was to do something like that. So, so they've all gone. And we see plenty of people walking around the place wearing hats, even indoors. So I think that's it. If you're from a warm country, warmer climate, then
and there's still people looking for them. Still people want you to send somewhere.
Yeah, we've a few back. We have a backlog. So
I saw a lady with one, and her phone and her hat were perfectly color matched.
Yes.
And she just sat there taking a picture with an FFTN. And I said hello, but I had my badge. I didn't have my badge on because we were out in the public. So I was like, I'm leaving my conference badge behind.
Yeah.
And she just looked at me. I'm like, nice hat. And she was like, like slightly awkward.
Yeah.
So you're here at Foundation for the Nation. You've been connecting and making sure that people are, I'm saying making sure that people are aware that you're there for them, there to support and just find down. But I think everybody knows who you are. It's like they want to make a good impression. So what's been the highlight of being here and connecting with people on this particular, because it's been 6 years, more. What has it been? More than 6 years since General Assembly was supposed to be on. FFTN has had to rechange the way that it met. You had to do some very creative things during COVID and lockdown to make sure you still met. So how's it going?
Go ahead, John. How's it going?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know why people want to make a good impression on us, because we don't influence the partners in choosing the projects. So they'd be much better giving presents to the partners that are here. But they keep bringing us presents and chocolate and all that sort of thing, which is very great.
Here, I haven't seen much of that.
Well, they say, could you give that one to Simon? I say, oh, yeah, sure. It's been... We had partners here earlier on in the week. Some of the partners came and they were extremely gratified to hear some of the feedback from people who had received grants. A lot of people here have received grants.
Yeah.
And we had a sort of presentation meeting the other day when we had, I think there were probably around 130, 140 people. There's standing room only in that big room.
Fantastic.
People either wanting to tell their experience of receiving a grant and the difference it made, or wanting to find out more about how it worked. There are a tremendous number of new people here. People who, like in the General Assembly yesterday, you saw about at least, I would think, 55% of the people had not been at a GA before.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were interested in hearing how Foundation for the Nations worked. Simon did a great presentation on the 9 years of deliverables so far, how many projects had been funded and so on, how much money has gone through.
Maybe that's worth repeating again for people who are just...
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
They weren't here. So, so over the last 9 years, we have, the partners have funded, I think it was 427 different projects. The average giving to a project is around about $22,000. And altogether, that's, a cumulative is close just under $10 million. For the 9 years. So it's incredible.
I just want to pause there and go, $10 million. The impact on communities, individuals, just the ability to mobilize it's just, it's just
let me tell you.
It's just slightly pausing because it's just like, wow.
So when you say, recently I was in Rwanda looking at a project there that the partners had funded, and it was The project title was Farming for Discipleship. So amongst the agricultural piece of farming, they were discipling young people. You know, they were reading the scriptures together in the mornings and the afternoons, and throughout the day they were farming together, like literally farming.
Yeah.
The young people are, taking manure from the animals and cultivating that and then spreading that on the crops. They're growing crops. The crops are feeding the animals, and the animals are producing more animals. So it's like nature. Yes, nature. So it's full cycle. And so we interviewed this one girl, and she said, "Look, since I've been coming along here, I've actually, they pay them a small amount of money, and she said I've been able to take that money and actually establish my own farm, and not only that, that's feeding my family, and all of that. And then we have other people saying to us, hey." This is not only making an impact on individuals, but families and also the whole of the community.
Yeah.
So you take that and you extrapolate that over many nations, over many years, it's incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
And people take the application process so seriously. The number of conversations I have from a media perspective where they come and say, how do I make a video that will actually make a difference for, within my application, that will, they kind of say, how do I make sure I make a video that makes sure my application is funded? And I always say the same. It's just like, be honest with your video. Make sure it has a beginning, middle, and end. Make sure it actually tells the story of what you want to achieve. And we had a conversation about this just the other day, and it's interesting. It's a repeating thing. And I try my best to say to them, just do the best you can, make it as honest as possible, and ask for what you want. Don't kind of hold back and say, well, we'll get this year and this next year. Put it all in one application, put all your eggs in the same basket, and just ask.
But that's right. The application form really needs to be crafted well. It's like I used the illustration the other day of somebody wood turning a bowl on a lathe. You rough it out, and then you do the gouging and you make it a lot smoother, and then you get the sandpaper on it and you craft it a bit more, and then you stain it or oil it. And it takes work to make it really good. And the application needs to be really, because the summary of the application form is what the partners will see. If they're going to have 120 applications, they're not going to read them all.
Yeah.
But when the video when it comes time for the projects that have kind of floated to the top to make the videos, then they really need to not just reference images, but show them. What happened in the early days was people would set up their iPhone on their desk and just talk to it, and they'd reference all these images, but they wouldn't show them. And so we had to send all the early videos back and say, listen, we're used for Christ. We're creative. You need humor. You need images. So let people see yourself for 10 seconds and then use the rest of the time for images.
Absolutely.
And suddenly they all got a lot better. But you can really help with that because you know how to put a good video together. Simon does too.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, because I think that's part of the thing within YRC is not that like our national directors are limited by innovation or creativity or any of those things. And I always, even when I was a national director myself, I was thinking, it's sometimes we're limited by resource. And I think that's the role that the FFTN partners play, is that they can get in behind this creativity, this innovation,
absolutely,
with resource, and allow the national director to think bigger. To move beyond his current reach within the nation and try something new. And I think the partners, we had one of the partners speak to that during this, and that's what he was saying. What they really love to see is national directors pushing the boundaries in youth ministry and what's possible. And how he sort of summed it up was advancement.
Yeah.
And the kingdom is always advancing. So what does that look like?
Think big.
Think big.
Think big. So FFTN has changed a lot over the years from its foundational stage, when you step back from being the area director and kind of put it together, to now. What does the future look like for FFTN? How is it evolving? How is it changing? Is there anything new that's going to be coming on?
Yeah, Simon.
I think probably strategically thinking at us reaching out to different networks as sources of funding, as in new partners. So thinking of developing new networks that can sit around the table and give to all of these projects that are happening. You know, I mean, we would like to have a problem where we have too much money to give away, and then we're already beginning to think about, well, if we have more money than we do have projects, how do we develop another, I suppose, another area of mission and another opportunity for developing maybe even people rather than projects, still the projects, but maybe people going forward. And so though definitely we're definitely sort of rethinking some things within FFTN and thinking about the future. So
what I mean, once Simon's been really thinking a lot about sports networks, for example, golf. And one of the conversations I'm having here is just exploring with somebody who's about to retire whether they would be willing to head up to something that would involve other young retirees in giving a couple of years service in nations. People who are perhaps they're young enough, their kids have grown, and they're young, still healthy. They've got they're footloose and fancy free as far as home is concerned, and they could give 2 or 3 years maybe of at least labour and time and energy into maybe an emerging program. So I'm just actually having that conversation like 5 minutes ago, and I'm just about to continue as soon as I finish this.
Which I was just reliably told we got 1 minute left. So it's exciting, and that's the thing. It's like you guys are very entrepreneurial, forward-thinking, absolutely, based foundationally, geared to the rock is that, in its simplest form to make sure this money advances the kingdom, that's new but appropriate ways are found to invest. And just the excitement of finding new networks, investing in people, because that is a really tricky one, because once you start investing in individuals, you've just got to be not as careful, I say, with the best intention, not with the
totally, like I would speak to that and say people are the means, of advancing what we're trying to do. It's all relational.
Absolutely.
It's all relational. So, and that takes time,
But we're probably at the point too where Foundations of Nations won't be just about money. It'll be about resourcing. And that might take several different forms.
And time. So closing, what is the final nugget of wisdom that you would like to share before I send you on your way to go and continue these amazing conversations that you're having?
John has all the wisdom here.
He says, he also...
It has to be John.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'd love to play a game with John where you just randomly stick him in the room and point at somebody, and he's not allowed to tell you their name. He has to tell you the name of their children and their grandparents, because I don't think he'd struggle.
Oh boy, that's really put you on the spot. I mean, I suppose the thing I always say to national directors is to be a great national director, you don't need to do great things, just do the simple things well. I mean, one of the ones I use is keep your word. If you say you're going to ring somebody tomorrow, ring them tomorrow. And nowadays with smartphones, you have no excuse for forgetting. If you say you'll find that information out and send it to them. Do the simple things well. If you say I'm going to turn up for that meeting, you turn up. I don't know how many national directors I've worked with who, at the last minute, they blow you away. They just say, forget, sorry, something more important came up. So to do a great job, do the simple things well.
Excellent. I mean, even just with the young leaders the other day, I was actually telling them there's 2 stories that I sometimes tell, and both of them are related to Mr. John Duncan.
Okay.
They were talking about...
Surprisingly.
They were talking about how busy they are and multitasking and how they have to, doing all these things. And I was saying to them, is that task the best task for you to do? Are you the only person that can do that task, and is it the best use of your time? And it was just this like, I'm like, do you really need to be the person that posts the letter?
Yeah.
You know, if it's you need a break from everybody and it's the best thing you can be doing right now, great. But is there something else that nobody else can do that only you can do?
No.
So yeah,
my thing would be, don't do alone what you can do together, and that just fits in nicely.
It's perfect, isn't it?
And so my saying on that one that you mentioned was, only do yourself what only you can do.
Oh, there you go. If there was a mic available to drop here, I would drop it. I
feel it's a t-shirt slogan.
only do yourself what only do.
That's it.
Only do yourself. Yeah. Only do yourself what you can do. I mean,
only do yourself what only you can do.
Only do yourself what only you can do.
Yeah.
Only do yourself what only
because then you're working to your strength.
Yeah.
And other people you can get, as you say, and 10 people could post a letter.
Yeah.
Maybe a way of saying that is play your part.
There you go.
Excellent. Well, thank you,
Martin. What would your pithy quote be just on that point?
Oh, mine.
Oh dear.
So come in. I don't know.
Is there a first aid team around here? Get them in quick.
My pithy quote is quite. I normally say when somebody says, I generally say, if you haven't got anything good to say, then don't say anything at all. But when they say, oh, do we have to be on social media? Do we have to make a video? I'm like, have you got anything to say? No, well then don't.
Is there scripture for that?
I'm sure there is.
There must be.
There is. Taking yourself out into the woods away from the disciples to have alone time. If you got nothing good to say, well, you always had something good to say. Anyway, before you put me on the spot anymore, I'm going to let you guys go because I don't like it when it's the other way around. All right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having it.
We're going to cut to our holding slide. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back soon.
Thank you.